A lot of people have been experiencing some high infertility this year on a range of different species. We don't. This year we didn't have a lot of instances of infertility. We've had a lot of little screw ups and stuff, and a lot of birds haven't laid to the same extent as they typically on an average year. So we're probably going to be down raising waterfowl by a few hundred birds at least this year. We're a little bit behind on our work because we just got so much to do. So I would have liked to have this video out a little bit earlier in the year, but I guess better late than never. I just want to go through, I'm not going to really go into a lot of detail about incubation, at least at this point, but I want to go through some candling of some eggs and just point out some bad eggs so everybody can get an idea what to look for, you know, with various dead embryos in the egg. We're not going to get into trying to date the age of the eggs or anything like that. I also don't have a lot of early incubation going on right now, unfortunately, but this will give you a pretty good idea of you know, what to look for, at least as incubation progresses. I'm going to start with some. I'm going to flip off the light here in a second. I'm going to start with some eggs that are in a couple different stages of incubation that are actually good eggs. And actually, I'm also going to grab a couple of eggs like this and up here as well. And oh, that's the one. That's the wrong one. This is the one I want to grab. We're going to have to just take a look at all these eggs because there is something that I want to go through with on this candling here. So we're going to start with these good eggs. You can use an egg candler. You can use a flashlight. These LED lights are pretty good. You can also use a cell phone. I will say with the cell phone versus some of these candlers, the cell phones are high intensity light, so sometimes you may not get a really good look at what's really going on inside the egg. So I'll resort from time to time to the actual egg candler, but 99% of the time this is what I use. So I'm going to turn this light on. I'm going to turn this light off up on top here, so we have some dark room here. Let's start off. This is a North American ruddy duck. This is probably close to 10 days in incubation. You can see there's a lot of veins in there. If you look up here, that's probably the heart right there. Usually about 5 days into incubation, you'll start be able to see the heart. Although I will say some of the birds, I tend not to see anything for like 7 days. You can see if you move it a little bit, you'll see a little bit of movement back and forth. And you'll see a lot of veins, arteries starting through the bird, through the embryo rather. Here's a American green-winged teal egg. You can see this is this membrane up here, this top part of the membrane where it meets the air sac. That's where you're going to be focusing most of your attention on when you're candling an egg. You're not going to go down here because you're not going to see anything on the pointed end of the egg. But you're looking for the veins through this section up here. You're looking for any little movement. You want red color, nice red color up on the top. This membrane also, you want to look for the color on it. And I can't really explain it, but you can see once you get used to candling, you'll see it's an off color when you're candling. You can see this chick is moving around inside, so that's a good sign. And I'm just going to quickly go through a bunch more, just so you can see this is another green-winged teal egg. Actually, no, this has got to be a cinnamon teal egg. So we can see this one's just the same. It's nicely developing. You can see a little bit of movement in there. Another green-winged teal egg. It's actually starting to hatch. No, this is cinnamon teal egg. I take that back. It's starting to hatch. You can see it's got a little peck in there. You can see chick is moving a little bit. And if you sometimes if you turn the eggs, you'll see the body moving a little bit better. But you can see its little beak sticking up in there. There's another egg that's I can see its beak right there. I don't see any movement on this, but yeah, it's got a little bit of movement. You can see its beak right over here. If you look at it, I don't know if you can see it, but it's starting to pip a little bit. Here's another, this is a North American ruddy duck egg. These eggs tend to be very, they're difficult. They can be difficult. You see, like I was just talking here, and I'm going to switch to another egg under the nest here in a second. You can see up in here, up in this section where my thumb is, there's a nice red coloring going on here. And you know, the air sac is in, you know, decent shape. You don't want to see, you want to see a little bit of air sac, and by the time it is into full incubation, you probably want the air space down, you know, probably about 15-17% or so. Again, another teal egg. You can see it moving around in here, nice and healthy. Now this egg here, I'm just looking at it because it's got some broken egg on it. That's a good thing to keep cleaned off. I'm actually going to rinse it off afterwards. That's a place for bacteria to start growing and infect the egg, and then you won't have a chick. But again, you can see good veins in here. You can see movement a little bit, and that nice color on the membrane. This egg here, this is a Maine goose egg. You can see in here it's been sitting for actually 5 days a day. You can see it's got a little bit of red there. You can see some veins starting, you know, outward, arteries, and then the air space is a little bit concerning because it's kind of lopsided. It may or may not straighten out, and I'm not really expecting a lot on this particular egg. But that's what you look for. Somewhere around 5 days is you'll look for some, you know, some good blood vessels and stuff going. Same thing again, another green-winged teal egg, and then one more teal egg. And again, you can see blood vessels, you know, veins and arteries and stuff like that, and you see the bird moving, and you got good color up on top. And then I'm going to go over to these eggs. This is a red rosy-billed pochard, I believe. You can see it's near hatching. The air cell is a little bit big. It's been sitting under a hen, and it's actually the air cell is a little bit bigger than I would like it, and that's actually one of the reasons that I have pulled these eggs to get a recording of them. Again, this one is, I think it looks to me like it's a little bit, it hasn't been set on as long as the one I just showed you. But again, you can see that there's blood vessels down here, nice and strong, and good red color. And I don't see them moving in here. I see them moving a little bit. You don't always see them moving either. So if you don't see them moving, you don't throw the egg out. Unless you know that it's a bad egg, of course. Another egg is hatching right now. You can see it's moving around. Again, if you look at it, I mean, we're at probably 40% airspace in that, which is kind of excessive, but that's what you get sometimes when you hen hatch. And again, this bird, I can tell by looking at it, it's, you know, pretty close to hatching, that particular egg. And then I think this is the egg this one here is over 50% airspace, and the chick is still alive because I can see it in here. You can see that this got some red around the membrane here. But the problem is this egg is so light and so dehydrated that most likely the chick will be a really small chick, and it probably won't develop very good if it actually hatches. And again, this is hen hatched, and It doesn't happen too often to the hens, but when I say hens, I'm talking about bantam chickens. It doesn't happen too often, but it does happen from time to time. So now I'm going to switch over to these. Oh, I want to do one more thing here before I go to the bad eggs. I'll put these eggs down here. And then I just want to come up here and grab a couple more stiff tail eggs. These are white-headed duck eggs I just pulled from under a hen here. They're very difficult to, some of them I should say are very difficult, like the North American ruddy ducks. You may not be able to see it, but I can see a couple of little arteries in there. These have been sitting for probably about a week or so. You can see it's a very dark colored egg. So I'm going to go back here, and the second egg here is another white-headed duck egg, but you can see you can see more clearly vessels and veins and arteries in here. You can also see a chick kind of moving around in there. So both of these eggs are good, but they're just, like I said, they're really difficult to get a good candling on. Alright, so now I'm going to go to these rotten eggs, and let me just put these eggs over here now. Alright. So I just talked a moment ago about a couple of times about the membrane as it meets the air sac here. You can see there's no veins or arteries or anything up in here. You see a chick down in here. It's kind of sloshing a little bit when I move it. There's obviously no movement in here, but this color here is actually the sign. It's the telltale identification of a bad egg here. And this is actually a North American ruddy duck egg. The reason this is an infertile egg, the reason I pulled this is you can see it's got like some cracks in it, but and that's actually a little bit thin, I guess. So you'll see stuff like that when you're candling eggs, and a lot of times you still want to set them anyway because they're sometimes they're actually a lot stronger than that. Again, if you look at this egg here. You've got there's no vessels or anything coming through. That you can identify in this egg. This little spot here, you can, well, first of all, you can see like a blood ring. Sometimes you'll see a circle as a blood ring, and the blood rings typically are old eggs. When you set old eggs, this may very well have been an old egg. It may have started to develop and then it just died after a few days, because you can see it obviously did start to develop and it died out, and that's probably like a bacteria in there that's causing that coloration. This egg here is, I think it's a common shell duck egg. You can see it's a cloudy color. You don't see any defined blood vessels, arteries or veins or anything in here. But this is, died. This egg is obviously died. There's nothing living there's no embryos living in this egg here. Here's a Philippine duck egg. This looks like it's a good egg. I mean, it's probably fully developed. It probably down to the last couple of days last couple of days of incubation. It kind of looks like it's good here where this membrane meets, and I hope you can see this right along this edge here. There's like a dingy yellow color, and that's definitely a sign that this egg, the embryo in this is dead. And you can see it some more up here. Sometimes you can grab an egg too, and you can just feel the weight of it, and you can feel, and this actually feels a little bit dehydrated. You can tell that they're dehydrated. If they're dehydrated and they look like that, then they're definitely bad. Another egg that started to develop, probably after maybe 5, 6, 7 days, and ended up dying. Another egg, cloudy, looking. If you turn it, it like moves, sloshes around a lot. You can see there's an off color spot there. There's some off colors in here. Definitely a bad egg. And if you notice here, this is actually the pointed end on this thing, and then this is the air sac end, the large end. So something went wrong with that egg. It's completely upside down now. This egg was a Gadwall egg. It developed to about 5 days. The heart was beating in it, and it got cracked. And then as soon as it's actually a little bit thin, it's actually pretty thin. But when it got cracked, bacteria entered it, and it killed the egg. Killed the embryo, rather. Here's an egg. This is probably a tree duck egg of some sort. Probably a Knighton's tree duck. Again, it looks like a good egg. It's obviously gone through almost the full term of incubation. You see there's like a gray spot down here, and there's some graying up here, but you don't see any movement in it. But that graying here is a sign that it's no good, as well as down here, this hollow spot of gray. You can actually also see some vessels down here, but they don't look, nothing looks healthy in that egg. Here's a American greenwing egg. Again, you can look and you can see that the membrane is kind of like opaque, and it's there's no blood vessels in there. Here's a, I don't know, maybe Philippine duck egg. Again, this is close to the end of incubation period. If I grab it and I turn it a little bit, it looks like there's something moving in there. It is definitely moving, but it's just because I'm moving the egg. You can see that the color is kind of a dingy brownish yellow in the air sac. You can see that you know, there's no good healthy veins or arteries in here. Another teal egg here. There's like an odd spot, 2 odd spots there, 3 odd spots. They're like kind of like an air bubble, maybe from bacteria releasing air in there. You can see it's a nice bright red color here, but there's no defined blood vessels in here, and to me the air sac looks like it's a little bit dingy color, so it's definitely not a good egg. Again, this cloudiness in here, it's bacteria or mold or something like that that infected this egg. And you know, any cloudy eggs like that are obviously no good, and it's also a dingy, like yellowish color. So if you look at this egg in the light, you might see some little dark spots on it. If you see little dark spots on an egg, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Especially stuff like mandarins and wood ducks, so just before they hatch, you'll start getting some dark spots on them. But if you candle it, you can see that those spots are inside, obviously. My guess is this egg didn't even start, in fact, I'm certain it didn't even start to develop. It was, who knows, it got infected outside, you know, with bacteria or something, some other microbe, and it just started growing in the egg before it even incubated. Again, another cloudy egg. You can see that it's slushing back and forth when I'm turning the egg. It's definitely, you know, I don't know, this egg might stink even if we popped it open. This is just an example of a clear egg, plain old clear. May or may not have, it probably wasn't even fertilized. It doesn't even, I don't have any reason to believe it was fertilized on that egg. This egg here, really, too, it's like there's some little bit of discoloration in it, right around here. Otherwise, it looks like a clear egg as well. Here's just this probably started developing and died off in the first week or so. It's actually I think it's a jungle fowl egg or something. It looks kind of small. No, it's a tree duck egg. But you can see that there's just nothing really going on in there. Same thing here. This is you can see like a red tinge, like it's a circle in here. I'm guessing I just grabbed an egg that was sitting for a while and tried to incubate it. Here's a gadwall egg. You can see something went on probably for a couple of days and then it just died out. Again, this is one of these eggs that looks like it's going to hatch, but you can see this whitish color on the membrane right here. And I mean, obviously there's no movement in here, but this embryo is dead. Same thing. We can look at this one. We can see this off, kind of dingy yellow color ring around this egg. So we know that this isn't going to hatch either. Otherwise, I mean, it was probably alive right up until the last day or two of hatch. Same thing here. Sometimes when you grab these eggs like this and you give them a little turn, you'll see something wiggling around in there. But if you examine it closer, you'll see, again, right around that membrane, you'll see it won't. There's no good vessels, and a lot of times it'll be like a yellow color. Another one of these cloudy eggs. You can see there's some air bubbles or something like that in there. This egg is sloshing around in there. Another example of a clear egg. And then this is another example of an egg that I can still see some vessels in here that are just dying off, but you can see this is that just died. That embryo died. Like I said, the vessels, I can still see some vessels coming out here, but they'll soon to rot here in the next couple of days. And then again, this particular egg, although it's not that dingy yellow, it's kind of a green dinge color. But again, this is a bad egg. And it's hopefully that's helpful to some people that are new at candling eggs. In the future, we'll probably do some more.